We ourselves are still trying to figure out just how to fully tap into foundation grant making. In the first year of DonorsChoose.org, I cold called 100 different foundations. I got the names out of a simple directory and just left voicemail after voicemail. And the one group out of the 100 voicemails I left, the one that was returned was the Goldman Sachs Foundation, and they made an angel investment in our nonprofit, which is just to say that I'm no expert in how you wrangle grants from foundations. One appeal of DonorsChoose.org to teachers is that they don't need experience with grant writing to use our site. In fact, experience with grant writing is often a detriment to successful use of our website, because the people who come to our site want to see plain-spoken, from-the-heart, jargon-free project requests. And so people who've never written a grant before are often best able to keep academic jargon out of their projects and keep it plain spoken. But I'm afraid I'm learning alongside the questioner how you most effectively secure grants from foundations.
From the Capital Good Fund, which is a Revelation Action finalist for Double Green Credit Builder Loan Program, how can nonprofits leverage new tools such as social media not only to raise more funds, but also to create a community of individuals engaged in the issues that the organizations address?
We have had one success with its own challenge, and then there's one big area where we're learning right now. The area where we've had a real success is with our social media challenge, and that's where bloggers and Twitterers will create personal pages on DonorsChoose.org listing their favorite classroom project requests, and then the bloggers and Twitterers will rally their readers and their followers to donate to the classroom projects that they've selected. And then via leaderboards, these bloggers and Twitterers compete with each other to see whose readership, whose following is the most generous, who has helped the most kids in public schools, who's brought to life the most classroom projects. And we exceeded $500,000 in total classroom project funding through the last social media challenge, in great part because it was fueled by NHP sponsorship. But we saw some of the top bloggers in the world participate and get into a philanthropic smackdown. So that was a success in terms of the bloggers who were participating, the funds raised, the social impact achieved. It remains a challenge in that the donors that we thus acquired have primary loyalty to the blogger that they read or the Twitterer whom they follow, and transferring that loyalty to DonorsChoose.org has been really tough for us. And by transferring loyalty to DonorsChoose.org, I don't mean transferring the loyalty. I really mean getting the person to become an ongoing donor at DonorsChoose.org, even when their favorite blogger or Twitterer is not asking them to give. And we've not cracked that nut. And I think that does point to some of the challenges of having evangelists, social media evangelists, who rally their followers to consider joining your cause. And the challenge is that the folks thus acquired continue to have primary loyalty toward that evangelist and are not true converts to your cause necessarily. The area where we're only just learning ourselves is we're looking to make DonorsChoose.org more than just giving money for the citizen philanthropists who support kids via our site. And we maintain a pretty active blog and a Twitter presence, Facebook presence, but don't feel we are yet any kind of worthy case study. So we're learning alongside the questioner.
But it sounds like it still is rooted in that constant craving for dialogue on any of these particular issues. If the dialogue isn't there, then it's difficult to even start that message, disseminating that message.
Absolutely. Although starting a dialogue makes me think of probably the single most successful feature that we've ever launched on our site, and that was the feature enabling a donor to tell the classroom why they had chosen their project to support. It's the way for a donor to say, I gave to this project because my grandfather was a watercolor painter and I was really compelled by your watercolor painting request, or a way for the donor to give the students whose project they've chosen to support a big boost and a vote of confidence. 87% of our donors take the time after their transaction has been completed to write such a message to the classroom, and teachers can write back to the donor, and the dialogue that we've enabled on every classroom project webpage is pretty neat to experience.
Here's a question from the Committee on Temporary Shelter, COTS, the Revelation Action finalist for homelessness prevention. Has fundraising online proven to be as effective as or more effective than the traditional methods of direct mailings, phone-a-thon, special events?
Oh, I think that online fundraising, in our experience, online fundraising has proven a greater ROI than offline retail methods of fundraising. I do believe that we raise a heck of a lot more money at a much lower cost than if we were doing a direct mail campaign. At the same time, though, our marketplace is growing thanks in great part to institutional funding. This school year, about 60,000 people will open up their own wallets to support a classroom project on our site. Another 40,000 people will support classroom projects on our site thanks to a gift card, a philanthropic gift card given to them by a foundation or usually a company. Half of the classroom project funding on our site, even more than half of the project funding on our site, comes from corporate sponsors, foundations, and major philanthropists. We use those funds from institutional sources almost always to fuel citizen philanthropy. The example of that would be taking a major grant from a company and using it to underwrite gift cards, which enable thousands and thousands of citizen philanthropists to pick projects they want to support. But to the questioner's underlying point, we have yet to prove that online consumer giving can raise significantly more funds than offline partnership development with companies, foundations, and philanthropists. Bit by bit, more of our marketplace is driven by consumer giving, but we absolutely have focused on what we call managed giving from institutional sources to fuel our marketplace.
Now, this is a question from the same entrant, Committee on Temporary Shelter. As a small nonprofit, we are always trying to utilize social media tools most effectively. In your opinion, is it best to strictly use it for fundraising and donor cultivation, or should we focus more on using it for advocacy and education as well?
We have we've been slow. We've just now implemented a campaign where people can use their mobile phones to make a pledge to DonorsChoose.org, but we've only just done that. We have plans to further incorporate Twitter into the giving experience, but aren't yet driving a great deal of donations via Twitter. And I'm not yet. We're not yet in an expert position to assess whether those channels are better used for awareness generation and for advocacy than for giving. So I'm afraid that's an open book. I bet the questioner might have as good an idea as I do.